laundry. Well, I kind of laid off the car for a few days. Had some other things come up that I had to take care of, so I've been doing that, and now here it is like 4 or 5 days later. I'm going to get back to the car. So, on the agenda today is getting the heater in. I got some molded heater hose here that I want to try and see if I can get it routed real cleanly. I have yet to put the heater in and just find out how that long tube heater core is going to work. So that's it's on the agenda for today. I don't know what else I'll get to, but hey, the hot weather is subsiding a bit. We're going to have a couple of days of marine layer cool air. So this morning it's 68 degrees. It even sprinkled a little bit. So hey, it's good. It's great working weather. So let's get at it. I was just thinking about how fortunate I was that I put the retaining bolts for the heater. I just left them on the heater motor, so I didn't have to go hunt them down. But they are just speed nuts, so not a big deal. But okay, here we go. Let's just see if I can get this in without mucking anything up. I will have to get these cables out of my way. The heater's going to have to go in behind them and under them. Okay, let's get those heater cables out of there. And get that things lined up here. And then get all these cables and wires and all the extra stuff out of the way. But I also have to get the wires for the blower motor. Have to also go through the hole there. There we go. And that should be that. Kind of push it in there. Well, it kind of fits in there. I was a little worried about the position of the, the kill mat and everything, because I covered the whole firewall with it, and that it would make it troublesome to get the heater in. But so far, I don't know. It's okay. My next concern, come on. Let me just get the speed nuts started here. One of the main benefits of using this long tube heater hose is to, if the hose starts to leak, you want the seam on the outside so that it just leaks out here where you can see it, and it doesn't leak inside the car and soak the carpet and the insides. So I want to make sure the hole is sealed, that the tubes are stabilized, and that the seam for the hose is on the outside of the firewall. Those are the three main things. Okay, so I'm just going to keep plugging away here. Well, now, things are going together pretty easy, so that should make me nervous. Just everything just bolts right up nice and clean like. The donut for the air inlet is holding the whole assembly down, and I think that's what's stopping this nut from going on. But there it goes. Let's just see if I can get her to go. Yep. There we go. Now let's see about these hoses here. got ones with a 90-degree in them so that I could cut them down and get them out from the... So I'm going to have to cut that really short because I don't want this hose rubbing on the back of the block.
Oh, just trying not to cut a finger off here. Just get a sharper blade, I guess.
Okay, let's see what we got now. Is that going to be enough? So when I put that on, oh yeah, so I could stop it right there, put a hose clamp on it, it misses the back of the motor just fine. And then it comes in through here, like so. Oh yeah, that's really nice. Yeah, that looks really good. And then it'll just take a set like that after it gets hot. And that hose will not fail. It won't chafe and fail. I know a lot of people run them off of the heater and then run them up under here and put, it goes through a leather loop or some kind of a loop up here, and then it goes down to the motor. Always thought that was kind of junky. Alrighty, let's see if these bolts tighten up all the way now.
So if you plug in your blower motor and it doesn't seem to blow much air, try reversing them. You may find that it does better.
And just hook the wires up, and we're good. So if you have any question about which cable goes where, first off, they're all different lengths. So they're actually easy to surmise from that. But this cable, this control here is the air. So it's controlling the air door here. Either you have this open and air comes straight through the vent into the car, which I really enjoy in the summer, or it's closed and it's going through the heater. So if I go over here and run the heat control, you can see, oh yeah, so that's going to be the heat door. You see the cable over there moving? Okay, that's defrost. That is air. So when you look at the controls here, you have air, temp, and defrost. So that's what it means when you're hooking up the cables, and it's relatively easy. You just have to loosen up the screw. I don't know if I can do it with my fingers here. I think, oh yeah, there we go. Loosen up the screw and get the cable through. The easiest way, I think, is just to take the screw out. And if you find that when you get your control set up that the cable is sliding, then all you have to do is bend this little clip, this little nub here back, and then that will tighten up its grip on the cable. So basically it just drops over the top like so, and you put it over the cable like so, and you put the nut in. Okay, so I got to get me a, what is that, a 5/16 on a nut driver. Be right back. So when I turn the heater off, I want to make sure that that heater is off. I mean, there's already enough heat in the passenger compartment.
I know this seems a little fiddly, and it is, but it's worth taking the time to get this right.
I want to be able to take the wind off of people's feet, you know, if it gets cold. Around here, that's like, oh, I'm driving over Mount Hood. And so we have lots of air coming into the car down in Portland. But as we get up to Mount Hood, I want to be able to turn the air off. But also need to be able to have the heater off. Gosh, that's got to be... Okay. No play on the heater off side. No play on the heater on side. Okay, that's good. We will just leave that one there, and that cable's pretty tight. Okay, so next up is to get the actual heat control in place. And it's the same thing. Well, that was good, Don. Did I just break that bulb? I sure did. Holy smokes. I just broke my glove box light. Okay, see up here, you can see it's the same thing on this control. I am supposed to have little clips, that speed nut type things that push on the top of those to hold those cables on. I don't think I've used those for years. Anyway. Okay, here's some silicone spray. We'll shoot it inside this here tube. Like so. Alright. Let's see what happens. If I can just slide it on there and it goes on nice and easy, like, oh yeah, it did. That's good. And I can just get it on the rest of the way. Come on. I need something to push with near, like a pair of needle nose or something. I can put on both sides of that tube. Now what I don't want to do is crush anything or scar the tube, but there it goes. So this will do two things. I'll show you this in a close-up. Okay, so what you can see here is I've pushed a little length of hose, a 2-inch length of hose onto the tube so that it will insulate. It'll close off the hole in the firewall, plus stop this from being able to move around. It sort of shock mounts it. And then I'll do the same thing here. And that leaves a gap that I can put between the hose and this hose so that if it ever leaks, it'll be dripping on the outside and instead of inside the car. Let's see how much this foam has collapsed. I expect these bolts to just slack right off. And, I'm going to wipe that silicone off of there because now I want this hose to stick. The inlet water for the heater core comes off the top of the manifold right here. And this is a special fitting that screws into the top of the manifold and it has a length of pipe on it so that steam that's coming out of the motor doesn't go through the heater core and make it gurgle. That way you have continuous hot water in the heater core and the steam will be vented out through the thermostat and into the radiator.
So I'm just trying to route the hoses and make them as clean as possible, but also this is where reliability comes in. I know. You may find this a bit, is anal the word we're looking for? But if you fit everything right and you do all these little tasks like this in a way that doesn't have problems it looks okay, but it also doesn't have any physical problems, then the car becomes really reliable. I expect this car to drive 20,000 miles between tune-ups. 50, 60,000 miles before it needs anything, except maybe tires. But you know what I mean? I want this thing to be really stable and reliable. So there is this kind of general idea that old cars like this need to be worked on all the time, and they're really a hassle, or like points and stuff. They're just so much hassle, and the car won't run reliably. That's just not true. Points ran the world before electronic ignition came along, and this car should run 20,000 miles without needing any maintenance like that at all, except oil changes.
Now what I do there is I'll pull this hose off of the manifold outlet here, and then when I put antifreeze in it, I will put it in until I start getting fluid out of this fitting. And then I know that I have filled the block in its entirety. So I don't have to worry about anything airlocking. Now the level will drop after it's started because it'll fill the heater core. But for the most part, that is it. Okay, now this whole thing needs to come over, get over the top there like so. Now, do I want that? I think I want that under the wires. So this needs to go underneath the spark plug wires here, like so. And this little regulator. So yeah, I will be doing a video on my tuning secrets that give me really good fuel economy and good idle with a somewhat radical cam. I mean, it's a pretty mild cam, but it gives me a better idle, better cold start in the winter. It also it's got 10.5 to 1 compression, but I don't get any run on in the summer. I mean, just all kinds of stuff that it's in my tuning tricks. And I will be getting to that soon. I installed the return heater hose with the elbow over here where it goes into the water pump there. And so back here on the heater core, the supply line coming out of the manifold goes to the bottom, and the top one is going to return. And I do that because that ensures that air will be purged from the heater core, and I'll get good heat, but no gurgling. It was just one of those annoying things. Is if you start up your car and you hear gurgling in your heater core and then it goes away, that's because you may have your hoses backwards here so that there's air being trapped in the heater core, and or you've got the wrong type of 90-degree elbow here at the manifold that doesn't have the extension of tube that goes out of the bottom that keeps the steam from going through the heater core. So either one or both of those things will make that gurgling sound. Okay, that's it. The heater core is in, and actually I am at the point now where I can put coolant in this car, and golly gee willikers, I could actually run it if I wanted to. I'd have to supply fuel to it because there's no gas tank in the car yet. And I'm not going to do that for 2 reasons. Number one, not ready. Number two, the transmission doesn't have fluid in it yet. So I'm not running the motor until I get the lube in the transmission. And I wasn't sure if I was going to have to pull the transmission one more time when I'm working on stuff under there. So that's my story. Later.